Hey chismosa, story time on how I found out my ex cheated on me through Facebook Messenger. And this ain't the oh my, like he was texting other girls. No, I found out he got another girl pregnant in Mexico on Facebook Messenger. But I was with my ex for almost 3 years, and it was honestly like such a bad toxic relationship. He was emotionally abusive, and it was very, very toxic for someone as young as I was to be going through that. I did start dating him when I was 17 and he was 20, illegal. But I ended up going through his phone one day after I just had a speculation that he was doing something very weird, because he was always like hiding his phone, but it was for a reason I didn't think. When I went through his phone, I only checked through Instagram because like I was like, okay, like I don't have enough time, like I'm gonna just check the only thing like that was in my head. And I was like, the only thing I was thinking about was Instagram, because he didn't have Snapchat, or so I thought. I went through his Instagram, I saw him like replying to girl stories, liking girl stories. So I was like, okay, you know what? Told him about it. He got upset. I went through his phone and I was like, we're done, we're done. And since normally he's always the one who breaks up with me, like I'm not gonna say he was crashing out that like I was trying to leave him, but it was more like he was getting very defensive that I was trying to leave him. He didn't let me go home that day. I ended up sleeping over. We were trying to talk things out. I was like, okay, well, like, it's not like he fucked another bitch. Whole time he was. Anyways, a couple months had passed, and I think it was like already like the next year, like it was like freshly like January, like mid to late January. I was taking him to go look at a car because he wanted like a certain car. And when he was going to go test drive it, I kept hearing like buzz buzz buzz, and I was like, he left his other phone. He normally always takes his other phone with him. So I'm like, okay, my time to shine. I end up getting his little crusty Coach bag, because all the cheaters have a fucking Coach bag, the side bags, y'all know what I'm talking about. And I end up getting it, right? And I start hearing this voice in my head telling me like, Emily, like this is the sign you've been waiting for. But like obviously, like once I look through his phone, like it's done. And I was like mentally preparing myself, and I pulled out my phone again. I started recording, and I go on Messenger this time, and for some reason I'm scrolling through it and I see him asking this girl for his Snapchat, and it was on a day where he was texting me that he was drunk. So I'm like, we don't have Snapchat anymore, like we deleted it. So like what the fuck is going on? And I end up seeing, and I see this girl. I don't know why, but like I saw her name and my heart just instantly like went to my ass, bro. And let's just say I almost died when I clicked on her fucking messages. Obviously, I'm gonna say this girl's name because I don't give a fuck, and she probably don't know me, but I'm not gonna say her full name, but her name is Ali. I saw her messages, and when I saw them, I was very upset. This girl's asking him for money. Obviously, that's what every bitch in Mexico does. She was asking him for money, and basically, I saw that she was saying she was pregnant. So I'm like, you were raw dogging both of us at the same time. It's crazy, especially finding out that this girl was around the same age I was when I started dating him. Illegal again, because he's fucking disgusting. I'm getting ready for work. Sorry guys, I keep moving, but I ended up like ending things with him like for good at that point. We were already broken up. Nothing mattered, and I was like bawling my eyes out every day at this point, literally crashing out sad, because literally like at that point the love of my life was doing this to me, like my first everything was doing this to me. I was crashing out. And the one thing I like is that the universe always works in my favor. But we're gonna sit down now because it's gonna get real, y'all. It's gonna get real and hot. So for some reason, like his life just started going downhill. He started hanging around with the wrong people. His parents ended up kicking him out. He lost his job. He had nothing, not even a girlfriend, just a little baby mom asking him for money that he didn't even have. Okay, sorry guys, I keep moving around, but I ended up finding this girl on Facebook, but she had like that private account where literally like only the people like that she has can see her stuff, right? And obviously like I didn't want to message her because y'all know how them bitches are over there. Like they just want money, they just want papers, they don't give a fucking shit. And I was like, okay, you know what, it doesn't matter, like maybe I'm tweaking, because I kept having these dreams where I was him, another girl, and I was like, okay, like it's just dreams, but I kept hearing this voice in my head telling me, bitch, it's not a dream, bitch, it's not a dream, stop being fucking stupid. So I was like, okay, like I don't know what to do. And I kept telling him, like, you know, I keep having these dreams where you're like another girl. And when I would like explain to him these dreams, like, you know, he would be like, nah, it's not real, and then I had this certain dream, and when I had like explained to him like what had happened, he was like, okay, like you're scaring me. And I'm like, well, if it's not real, why are you getting scared, you know? Okay, that other light was like way too loud, but I ended up telling him, like, okay, like what's the dealio, like why are you being fucking weird? And I ended up finding out that, you know, this girl was like way too pregnant, that he was like telling her like, oh, like abort it, because he was always telling me like, oh yeah, if you get pregnant, like you're gonna abort it. And I was like, well, if you're telling me to abort it, like what the fuck? Like he knows that I'm against abortion, so I'm like, why the fuck would you tell me to get an abortion? Like the fuck? But I'm like, damn, this girl must be baddie shot o'clock if he's cheating on her or cheating on me with her. And this girl didn't know about me. That's why, like, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, she knew. She didn't know. He had a whole baddie shot o'clock back in the States. And like when I saw her, I was just like, what is there to cry about? The only thing I can cry about is that she's carrying his kid. But when I confronted him and I was like, yeah, I know, like I'm just not gonna want to be fucking around with someone that's a baby daddy. And he's like, what the fuck, like I didn't get a girl pregnant. He kept lying. He's like, I didn't get a girl pregnant, girl pregnant. Honey bunch, 2 + 2 = 4. We know what happened. Stop trying to act dumb. Your mom knew, your sister knew, literally everybody knew, and they were all keeping it a secret from me. Like what the fuck, make it make sense. I have my ways of finding out information, if you know what I mean. And when I had told him, like, you know, like I just don't, I didn't tell him that even though like he was still trying to like text me, like we weren't really seeing each other as often, because at this point I was seeing other people. I like wasn't really like up over there, but when my sneaky links couldn't link, obviously I had to go back. Like the fuck, even though it wasn't as good as the ones I was already getting, like I did have to suffer a little bit, but it was fine. Like you do what you gotta do. And the only reason why I was still fucking around with him was because his head ass got me a car, and I just wanted him to fucking do the release of liability, and that's all I wanted, because I just was there for the game. Like to can play that game, honey, give me my fucking car. And at that point, like I was like with another guy. Like the guy knew everything about my ex. He would always see my ex texting me, and I was like, dude, it's literally just about the car, that's all I want. But my ex is over here saying like, I just don't have time. And I was telling my ex, okay, if you don't sign the paper, I'm just gonna give you the car back, and like we're just gonna be done. Like I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. And he was like, no, I'm gonna do it. He didn't answer me for a whole day. And no, he didn't text me like number. I was spamming him, nothing. And I was like, okay, it's whatever. I ended up waking up because at that point I did sleep over at the guy I was seeing with, and ironically he had the same last name as the bitch that he got pregnant. Crazy the way the universe works. But that's the only reason why I stopped talking with the guy, was because his last name literally traumatized me so much. It just reminded me about what happened. And that day I woke up, I ended up looking at my phone and I saw a DM from my ex. He slid up on the highlight of the guy that I had posted. So fucking funny. He was like, hey, like my bad, like I just got out of jail. Another reason why I didn't want to be with him was because what the fuck was he doing with his life being fucking 23? Hello. And I ended up, you know, telling him, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go give you the car back, like I don't care. I went to go drop off the car at that point, put the pink slip in like the glove box, you know, parked it, sent him a pic where I parked it, and left. And he still kept trying to hit me up and whatever, and to this day he still denied the fact that he cheated on me and got another girl pregnant, until I went again on Facebook and I searched up this girl's profile. This girl was posted up like this, holding the baby with him right next to her. Like, just say you're fucking miserable. There is more parts. If y'all want me to go more into detail, let me know, because I have to go to work. But this girl was probably like 17, maybe 18 when she gave birth, and that means that he was fucking around with her while she was still a minor. But he always does that. To this day I hear that he's messing around with little girls in high school, and let's just say he's allegedly, just so you guys know, but let's just say he's like 24. Disgusting, very disgusting. But if y'all want me to go into more detail, let me know.
Story time of how my dad, who was a police officer for 30 years, got arrested and exposed for cheating on my mom for over a decade. In case anyone is curious why I'm doing this now, over a year later, for one, I've just been kind of down in the dumps and depressed, and sometimes it's better to like talk through those things and like explain the story and kind of hash it out in my own brain. And number two, I feel like a lot of people might be curious as to what the days looked like leading up to that, what exactly happened, and a lot of people are just too shy to ask me. Context, I was living at home with my mom, my dad, my little sister, my daughter, myself, and our animals. We lived 45 minutes away from where my dad worked and kind of where our social lives, our school activities, and things like that happened. The days leading up to my dad's arrest, my mom, my dad, and my little sister had just gotten back from a trip out of town. The day that he got arrested, he was already assigned to work, and they had called him in early for like a meeting or something of the sort, and it was really nothing too out of the ordinary. Nobody really thought much of it. The last time I saw my dad, I was actually in the kitchen holding my daughter and doing dishes, and my dad just came in to kiss us on the forehead and say goodbye, and I said, "I love you, be safe." Yeah, that's the last time I saw my dad, over a year ago. Flash forward a few hours into that day, I had plans to meet a friend 45 minutes where we lived and where my dad worked, to meet at the park, and we were just going to do a little picnic with our babies and hang out and chit chat. As we get to the park, we're settling in. My best friend had texted the friend and said, "Hey, be there for Riley, she's about to get some really, really bad news." And then my best friend had also texted my boyfriend and told him to start heading my direction. 2 to 5 minutes later, I get a call from my mom. My mom's distraught, and I'm thinking she's going to tell me that our family dog had passed away or something, because he was getting old, so it would have made sense. My dad being arrested was not even in the realm of possibilities in my head. But of course she tells me that my dad's been arrested. I'm not going to say what the crime is because I don't want this video to get taken down. Next thing I know, I go online and I look up my dad's name and I see his mugshot and the crime all over the news outlets and whatnot. Next shot, I also see my family's name, my mom's name, my brother's name, so on and so on. I screenshot the news outlet article, and I FaceTime my brother, and as I'm FaceTiming him, I send him the screenshot, and we're both like, "Oh shit, what?" About 15 to 20 minutes later, probably, my boyfriend arrives at the park. He ends up driving me and my daughter over to his house. I was in no state to be driving, especially not driving my daughter. My best friend ended up meeting us at my boyfriend's house, and were helping me realize and process everything that was going on. I was really, really angry and just so heartbroken and sad and all of the emotions. At some point, my boyfriend decides to drive me home. Around 8 or 9 o'clock, I end up getting my daughter to sleep, and I end up falling asleep as well. And sometime between the two of us falling asleep and about midnight, my window faced the front of the house where the street was, so I woke up to police cars, about 4 of them, shining their light outside my window. My mom woke me up as well and told me that the police department was there to serve a search warrant on our house and collect electronic devices and any paperwork and whatnot that they could use in the case. I wrapped my daughter in a blanket and we step outside, and I also had texted my boyfriend and said that they're serving a search warrant, and I guess that's not allowed, so the police officers took my phone for the duration of the warrant being served, or like the search happening. I just sat outside for about an hour and a half rocking my 10-month-old baby in my arms, just completely disassociated. That got done probably around 1 a.m., 1:30 in the morning roughly. The following morning I woke up and kind of realized that this wasn't some horrible nightmare, but that this was my real life. It was basically a wake up and put on our survival mode, assess the situation. We were able to find out that my dad was on a paid administrative leave, which that is just standard protocol for a situation like this. And honestly, thank God, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom for 30 years, so that was the only income we had to keep food on our plate, a roof over our head, and lights on. A lot of people were really unhappy about this, and they were commenting on my mom's Facebook, commenting on any social media platform. There's actually several people I knew who partook and liked these comments, saying stuff along the lines of, "If he didn't care about his family, why should we?" But people don't realize that we were just as much victims as well, because we had no idea any of this was happening. Our life got turned upside down. Days after his arrest were spent realizing that my dad had cheated on my mom for over a decade with several different women. bringing them to our house. The days that he said he was going into work early or staying late, he was really cheating on my mom. I had to go pick up his vehicle from the police department, pick up his belongings from his desk, and realizing that there's things like coconut oil at his desk so he can go do his co-curricular activities. At some point, my mom decided that she wanted to move and that she needed a fresh start in a different state. Began packing up the house and going through photos and wedding memorabilia, father-daughter dance photos of he and I, and family photos, just all the stuff that really adds salt to a wound at that point in time. About a week into packing for my mom to move, I got the news that one of my best friends had passed away suddenly. It was literally the 2 weeks from hell. After that was my daughter's first birthday, and then almost immediately after that, my mom moved to a different state. So, yeah, it was crazy. As for my dad, there isn't really much of an update on him. He's still incarcerated in jail. He has not had a trial or anything yet. Hasn't been proven or found guilty or innocent. He's just kind of floating somewhere in the middle there, waiting for his trial. I don't really know how the legal system and all of that works. As for me, I go through different stages of anger and sadness and happiness, and I'm fine, and then I'm not fine, but I'm going to therapy, and I'm healing and processing the best I can, and I'm just trying to come out a better person than I was before this started. A better mom, a better human being. So, that's where we're at.
If you have ever wondered what it is like to be in a coma, well, look no further. This is the video for you. I was in a medically induced coma for roughly 3.5 to 4 months at the age of 14 years old. I am now 22, so this happened about 7 years ago. So I will describe how it was for me personally in my experience. This is a medically induced coma, so not a coma where people just fall into a coma themselves. Mine was done by the doctors in order to preserve my body and help my body heal itself. So, well, how did you end up in a coma? So basically, I can go into more detail about this, but basically I got the flu, then pneumonia, then sepsis, and then MRSA, all in my lungs, so I was fucked, basically. No one should live through that, but I did. So that is why they decided to put me in a coma. And yeah, I was also on life support, dialysis, breathing machines, feeding tubes, GI tubes, trach, the list goes on and on and on. So basically, I'm going to start with the feeling of being in a coma. So for me personally, it feels as if, you know, when you're laying in bed and you're in a very uncomfortable position, that's how it felt for me, but you can't move. So you're just laying there, and they say, oh, people can't hear in comas. Yes, they can. Oh, yes, they can. They can also feel. So there is that. So basically, you're laying in this position where you cannot move. You can hear the doctors. I wouldn't say all of the time. I would say about 50% of the time you're mentally coherent and you want to scream, cry, all of these emotions, but you can't. So that is what it feels like to be in a coma. That's just like the basis feeling. Yes. So you're trying to move every muscle in your body, and the doctors would say, oh, move your hands. Why are you telling me to move my hands if you know that I can't? But I would still try. The only thing that I could really do is like clench my jaw, but I did not know that I had like a intubation tube in, so I don't know if I was biting on that or whatnot, but that is the only physical thing that I could do with my body. Okay, so let's get into the other 50%. So I already said that you can hear, you can feel. Basically, you're just full of all of these emotions and uncomfortableness that you cannot act on. Like, can't even fucking cry about the situation. You just gotta sit there and take it. So the other 50%, this is just for me personally. My brain was trying to come up with theories as to why are we so messed up right now? What is going on? Because I didn't know. So I say these are dreams, but they felt more as if realities that I was living through. Like, these dreams were so real that it felt like that's what was happening, you know? Because your brain has to come up with a theory to explain. So, first theory that I had was, a little backstory. I always wanted to go into the army. I wanted to be an army girl. That's just who I was back then. Very tough, very outgoing, very much wanted to win over the boys. So the place that I lived had like a base. My stepdad was ex-military or retired through the military, whatnot. So we would go on the base all of the time. So I was very familiar with the military base. So my first dream was I was in the military on the base, and the base got raided, and I hid in a bush. Pow! Got shot in the freaking face. Whole side of my face was blown off. I think that dream started from the very beginning because I was in an ambulance, and I think I connected the ambulance ride to that. I don't know, but that was my first dream. Lovely. The second dream was when I was in the hospital. I thought, I'm a little psychotic, okay? I don't know, my brain's a little messed up in there. I was thinking, oh, yeah, my mom just took me to like a rundown hospital, draining me of all my blood so she could harvest my organs. Obviously, she's gonna harvest my organs. So that was my second dream, and that's what I thought was happening. And then the third dream, I don't know if you can. Right here, they put me on life support. But obviously I didn't know I was being put on life support. So I'm like, oh yeah, my little brother took a pair of scissors and just stabbed me in the neck. That's what happened, right? I don't know. So those are the dreams that I had. I did have a spiritual experience though. I did. You guys don't have to believe me, but this is what happened to me personally. So my mom would tell me that I had like a code blue. If you don't know what that is, it's not good. Go look it up. But I had like a code blue every single day the first month that I was in the hospital. So I don't know if I was like really dying and I experienced this, but the first experience that I experienced was just love, warmth, acceptance, because I thought I was gonna die. So I was like, don't be sad, I'm ready for this. But the real spiritual experience that I had was, it was all like dark. I saw a huge tree, which is, don't look at that, the tree of life. I forget what exactly it's called in like the Greek terms, but it's the tree of life. And then I saw balls of energy, orbs of energy, all different colors floating around. So that is what I saw. So yeah, if you guys have any questions on anything else, let me know. I had to learn how to walk, talk, eat, drink. I had to learn all of these things again because of how deconditioned my body was. I couldn't even I was laying down. I couldn't even lift my arm up because that's how weak I was. Oh, could you go to the bathroom on the toilet? No. I had a catheter in, and then they also put a tube in my butt. Freaky ass. So yeah, that happened as well. Very violating. But all of it is kind of a fever dream. I can't really comprehend how I went through all that. But also, I'm not looking for sympathy. I am glad that this happened to me. I am very fortunate that this is what happened to me. Because without this experience, I would not be the person that I am today. This is why I got the star. Because I'm chosen. I am here for a reason. I just need to find it. Don't we all? Anyways, this is my story time. Thanks. Also, just to put this into retrospect of how rare it is to get all of these sicknesses at once. Mind you, I got them in 3 days. There are only, well, back in 2018, there are only 10 cases of this happening to people in the entire US, and only 3 survived. Have I found those people yet? No. Hopefully this does help, though.
Okay, everyone, I've got a story time. So I am out in this world trying to date, trying to have sex, as one does as a single 35-year-old woman. And the other day on Thursday, I matched with this guy on Bumble, and we were chatting for a little. He invited me out to dinner, and I didn't really respond right away because I actually had to go to a Pilates class. So he followed up with some witty banter and was like, "You're not going to respond," whatever. So, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I had plans, but, can I see you sometime later this weekend?" And he was like, "Actually, I live in Milwaukee." He goes, "Actually, I don't live in Milwaukee. I'm from Toronto, and I work in the Midwest, so I'm in Chicago and Milwaukee quite a bit. So I'm actually leaving tomorrow." And I was like, damn, I was like, I didn't realize that there was a time restraint on hanging out with you. So he had, again, some witty banter, and I fell for it. So he was like, "You should meet me out for a drink." So got myself all dolled up, looked very cute, met him out for a couple drinks. I'm not even a big drinker. Found out he wasn't really a big drinker either, but we met out for a couple drinks. And really good banter. Hilarious. We had a good conversation. So much in common. We, chatted about all the things. And we were both two cocktails in, and I was like, I can't drink anymore. This is where I have my limits. And he's like, "Honestly, same." I was like, "Well, I want to keep hanging out with you." And he was obviously out of town, so he was staying at the Trade Hotel, and I was like, "Oh, that's a nice hotel." So, and you know what? I'm not going to be shy. I wanted to sleep with him, and I was prepared to sleep with him. So my move was well, we could just go back to the Trade Hotel and we could make out in your room. So he was all for that, obviously. So we went to the Trade Hotel, and making out led to other things. We had a great time. We had a great time 3 times. It was a good night. He was very complimentary. He was calling me sexy. He was just it was good vibes. We were really feeling each other. It was late. I had to work very early the next morning, and he was like, "Don't fuss. Why don't you sleep over? We'll set an alarm. I don't need you. You don't need to drive home right now. Just we'll hang, we'll cuddle, nice hotel rooms." Great. So, in the evening, my phone died. So he set an alarm, and we had he had a newer iPhone. I have an old iPhone. My phone died. So he set an alarm. I woke up at 5 a.m. to leave to go home to go to work. And as I was leaving, I was like, "Oh, I never got your number," because we were just messaging on Bumble, and it moved very quickly. I was like, "Why don't you just send me a message on Bumble with your number, and we'll exchange it," because my phone, again, dead. And he was like, great. We like kissed each other goodbye. We even like in the evening had like made tentative plans. He was coming back into town to work. He was going to Chicago. So I was like, great. Like he invited me to come to Chicago with him, go out to dinner, hang out in that hotel room. And then then I'm walking out of the hotel, and of course I got a fucking parking ticket. I see the meter guy, like putting it on my car. Like I was like 10 seconds too late. So I was like, fucking hell. So anyways, get ready for work, go to work. I was like thinking about it, like my next move, my next conversation in my brain with this dude. I was like, oh, this will be funny. I'll tell him I got a parking ticket, blah, blah. Go to work, set up my first procedure, drink my coffee, finally time like to go look back at my phone to see if he like sent me like a nice good morning message, like, hey, it was nice meeting you, can't wait to see you again in a couple weeks. This motherfucker unmatched me on Bumble. Literally just unmatched me. No. I was pissed. I was livid. I was like, no, I'm sorry. I'm going through every conversation we had, our whole evening. Literally this morning, my like ass is in his crotch, like in bed. Like, no. Like, why? Like, what the fuck? So I got a parking ticket. So I was like, fuck this. So as a personal, I am a great Googler, as most women of this generation are. So, and he had given me all this information about himself. So I plugged him into Google, found him in 5 seconds, found his last name on LinkedIn, and then I did what I could only imagine was like the most perfect solution, is that I sent him a Venmo request for my parking ticket, and I said, like, I got a parking ticket and you ghosted me. And he responded, and he paid. He sent me the money back. He paid for the ticket, but he changed the little like label of it, and he was like, for your parking ticket. And I woke up in pain, and I was like, okay, yeah, like we were sleeping together for I don't know what happened. We were moving and grooving for 2 hours. Like, yeah, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised you were in pain. Like, I'm good. I stretched before. But I was like, okay, like, what does this mean? I don't care. I literally don't care. You ghosted me. I don't care that you're in pain. You got laid. And so as I said, I was like, what does this mean? And he's like, I like woke up and I must have like pulled a muscle or something. I was like, okay, but like, to be clear, you don't want to see me again. Like, the plans that we made in 3 weeks, like, I should cancel those now. And then he responded back and he was like, yeah, it was really nice getting to know you, but like, I didn't see the connection long term. Sorry. Yeah, I'll be okay. I don't care if you're okay. Like, that's not the point of this conversation. I found you so you could pay for my parking ticket and also to call you out for ghosting me. And literally in the evening on our date, I asked him, we were talking about ghosting. And I was like, look, like, I get it. Like, sometimes it just doesn't work. If there's not a connection between us, you should tell me. Like, please don't ghost me. I hate that. I think it's so cowardly. Like, just tell me you're not interested. Totally. Whatever. No, this motherfucker ghosted me. So I literally responded on Venmo. We're messaging, by the way. And I was like, yeah, remember how I explicitly asked you not to ghost me? Like, just tell me what it is. Like, not a big deal. But, like, thanks for the cash and see you never. And then he went back and deleted every message that he wrote me. And I was like, what a coward. What a loser. Like, seriously. Like, wasn't trying to date you, bro. You don't even live in the same country as me. But, like, God forbid when you come to Milwaukee, you'd want to, like, hang out and bang. Men these days. They're cowards. So good luck to every woman out there who has to deal with men. And I hope that you don't get ghosted. And that's my story.
Things my ex did and I stayed part 3. He used to make me prove that I was on my period. And when I say he used to make me prove it, he used to make me show my tampons. And then he would decide if it was light enough to perform my womanly duties. And if I had told him I was on my period and then I showed him my tampon and I had suddenly like stopped bleeding and there was no blood in it, he would be like, you're a liar, you're a narcissist, you're a manipulator. Yeah. Going right into number 2, I have epilepsy, and one time I had a seizure in front of him, and I remember he called 911, even though you really don't have to. He called 911, I went to the hospital. The next day I seen him, and he was mad at me. He said that he was mad that I stressed him out by having a seizure in front of him, and that I had peed myself during my seizure on his couch, and he had to clean that up, and he wasn't happy about that either. His cousin was a stripper, and he told me that he would love to see his cousin strip. Yeah, his cousin. He used to treat me terribly and then tell me that was God talking to him, that it was the word of God to do these things to me, to say these things to me, and that I was not to go against the word of God. In the beginning of our relationship, I had confided in him that a close family friend had SA'd me when I was a child, and one time we got into it really bad and I upset him really bad, and he told everyone. And he didn't just tell everyone that someone SA'd me, he told everyone that I did it willingly as a child. I actually made a video how I left him. If you guys scroll through my videos, you could find it. But when I left him, I had forgot my epilepsy medicine at his house. So the next morning, I had to go get my pills from his house, and I had called him and let him know. I was really scared that he was gonna like scream at me, be mad or something, but he was like super calm. I thought that was weird. And he was like, no, I think you're right. I think it's for the best and blah, blah, blah. I'm really hungry though. On your way here, can you stop and get me something to eat? And I was thinking like, you know what, if it makes it so we don't fight, I'm just gonna agree and say yeah. So I got him what he asked for. I got there, and when I got there, there was a girl there. And when I handed him the food, he handed it to her. So he had me buy her food. So I've talked about this in other videos, but his parents were terrified of him, and he used to have his mom blow my phone up and leave me voicemails. Not him on his mom's phone, his mom, saying that, you know, he's really upset. Can you just call me? Please call me. I really think you guys need to talk. Will you just call me? Yeah. Everything was the word of God too. This is all God's will. Everything happening, it's God's will. Just so you guys know. I'm gonna make a second video about how I kind of got revenge, so that one will be coming soon.
Oh, fuck. Things boyfriends have said or done, and I have still stayed with them at the end of the day. My name is Kai, for people that are new here, and I am going to be going into a little bit of depth about my relationships from hell from the last couple of years. I will not be saying anybody's names for legal purposes. I've already gone through the legal aspect of this with them personally. So I was young, very young. Every time I tried to leave the house, if like my mom would call me or my sister wanted to like hang out, my sister was like probably like 8 years old at the time. Anytime they wanted to hang out, my ex would just pin me down to the bed and beat the fuck out of me. When I was like 15 years old, same ex-boyfriend, by the way, we did shrooms, and I was having like a bad trip. So like we had like this shed in the backyard where we like smoked and stuff. So I went into the house, and I'm sitting in the house having a bad trip, whatever. 20 minutes goes by. I go back into the shed to find my ex-boyfriend. His ex-girlfriend is there, head between his legs. I like walk in, and he stands up and adjusts his pants really quickly. I'm like, y'all have fun. This place for a bit because I was homeless in between houses because I got kicked out because of him. We were staying there. I walk in after school. He is cuddled up to Cook Whitlam's cum dumpster. I was like, what the fuck is this? I slept with his best friend the next day. Wasn't my brightest move, but I gotta get back at you somehow. Different ex-boyfriend told me we had gotten into a fight one day, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go home. And I was like, all right, have a good night. And then like 3 hours went by, and he snaps me a video of him and his ex-girlfriend fucking bang-a-ranging on my Snapchat device when I'm like 16. I'm getting porn. And they're like 4 years older than me. Like I was 16, he was like 19. Like I'm getting porn. Another time my boyfriend told me he was gonna go to sleep. You know, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed. I was like, okay, me too, have a good night. So I FaceTime him to say goodnight to him because we FaceTime every night to say goodnight. So I FaceTime him. Some girl answers. Some chick answers the phone, is like, oh, he's asleep. And like pans to him and he's like shirtless, passed out behind her. Don't know what that was. I stayed with him. I was like, oh, you have a good night. And I hung up. What the fuck is wrong with me? Same ex-boyfriend, he went to a party that I had no idea about. Like, he just, like, went to some party and he slept with a 12-year-old. He also is now a father with a baby and a wife. He has a child. He told me he loved me for my childlike characteristics, and now he's a father. One time me and the first ex, we were smoking at a school. We had his, like, smoking tube. We were smoking at a school, and he throws a knife at me. He throws his pocket knife at me. So I picked up his smoking tube and I chucked it on the ground and smashed it into pieces. He was not happy. He grabbed me and beat the fuck out. I broke my nose. I was throwing up blood. I had to go to the hospital. It was not great. Not great. Same ex-boyfriend. Me and him got into a fight once at my house, and he beat up my mother. He grabbed a chair and he threw it at my mom. He grabbed my mom. He beat up my mother. When me and my second ex were together, his mom was weirdly obsessed with his ex-girlfriend, and when we were together, she bought a cat off of his ex-girlfriend and named it her name. So we had a cat running around our house named after his ex-girlfriend from his ex-girlfriend's house. One time, me and my second ex, we did some drugs together, and I was too lazy to go across the room and grab my phone, and his phone was beside me. So I grab his phone and I go to log into my Snapchat because I wanted to snap my friends back. So I log out of his Snapchat, and there's 2 snaps on the screen. I'm like, why do you have 2 Snapchats? So I log into the second one, and the only person added on it is his ex-girlfriend from Quebec. From a different province. He snapped it. So I opened the Snapchat, and it's like full-blown titty pictures. And I stayed for like 6 more months. We got matching tattoos, and he didn't tell me till after that they were gang tattoos. So now I have a gang symbolization on my hand. One time we were walking around downtown East Hastings, which is like the homeless community of Vancouver. We were walking downtown, and some homeless person comes up to my ex-boyfriend trying to, like, ask him for money and stuff like that, and my ex is like, no, sorry, I don't have money. The crackhead starts getting a little bit more vicious and fucking fighting, throws me in front of him. My boyfriend grabs me and throws me in front of him and uses me as a shield against this homeless guy. This tweaker uses me as my ex-boyfriend's 6'7", I'm 5'1". What is that? My ex also cheated on me with men. I had lots of proof of that, lots of screenshots in his phone, lots of memories saved, lots of text messages, lots of rumors and stories going around, so my ex-boyfriend cheated on me with men. Yep. Throwback to my most recent ex, bro was, like, just addicted to OnlyFans. Like, every fucking day there was, like, 50 new women in his search, and, like, yeah, it was, like, except the fact that a woman existed without having an OnlyFans, so he'd have to, like, go out of his way to find out if she had an OnlyFans, and if she did, he'd, like, be obsessed with her for, like, a week and a half. And I'm talking, like, he would watch Bad Baby, Ice Spice, Glorilla, fucking Brittany and Garrick. Like, these people, what the fuck is that? Like, you're gross. He would also text his exes behind my back. Like, I went to a concert once, and I came back from the concert, and he was, like, messaging his ex-girlfriend, being like, oh, I miss you, how's, like, it going? Or, like, he would, like, message his ex-situationship, our entire relationship, and be like, oh, I miss you, I've had dreams about you. And, like, she would respond and be like, oh, I hope your girlfriend doesn't mind, like, can we hang out soon? Bitch, fuck off. Like, you're so lucky I didn't beat your fucking ass, you stupid hoe. Oh! Anyways. My most recent boyfriend and I got into a physical altercation over Andrew Tate because he started defending Andrew Tate, and I wasn't okay with that, so he picked me up and slammed me on the ground and beat me up over that. Don't know, didn't really beat me up, but got pretty physical with me over fucking Andrew Tate. Same ex-boyfriend called my vagina ugly and disgusting because my puss didn't look how his porn stars on his phone looked. I don't know. Got extra puss, bro, couldn't handle it. Also, the first ex-boyfriend, when I was very young, he leaked my naked pictures and told everybody that I had the body of a transgender boy. After, like, 2 years of dating. Same guy also told me that he only dated me because I looked and reminded him of his ex-girlfriend. My second ex-boyfriend made me get rid of every single one of my friends. My friendship of 16 years with one of my closest friends, 17-year-long friendship, he ended it because he stole something from them. and didn't own up to it and then blamed me for it. So he ruined a lot of friendship. I also became a meth addict because we started doing a lot of MDMA, and MDMA is basically just meth. So I was basically just a meth addict all throughout our relationship. He also made my mother hate me, and I ended up homeless for 2.5 years until my grandparents took me in. We lived on East Hastings, we lived on buses, we lived in Tim Hortons bathrooms. We bummed money from people. Like, it was bad. We also, my first ex-boyfriend, we got into a fight once at the SkyTrain station, and he threw himself onto the SkyTrain. Like, the rails. Tried to kill himself, tried to get hit by a train. We had to get transit security to come on, and, you know, my second ex-boyfriend would steal all my money. I was working, like, 10-hour days. I was working at Red Robin's as a line cook, but I was making a shit ton of money at the time. Like, I was making a decent amount of money, and he would take every single dollar of my paycheck. He would take it because I was underage at the time. He would take it to the casino. He'd take it to the liquor store. He'd take it to the dispensary. He'd just blow all my money. I'm pretty sure he took some of it to the strip club. Like, he took all my fucking money. I went broke as shit. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you. I appreciate y'all very much. Let me know if you would like to hear more of my stories from hell, because I have a lot more. Leave immediately. No man has ever, nobody, no man, no woman, no it, no them, no nothing is worth any sort of mental capacity you got going on. So just leave their ass before it gets worse for you, please.
Okay, so for today's story time, I'm going to be telling you guys about the time my sister lost her V card to a bike. Before I start, I do want to mention my sister is okay with me sharing her story on TikTok. She has shared it before. If she wasn't okay with it, I wouldn't be posting it. I don't know if I mentioned, but me and my sister, we are twins. So if you guys know, we tend to share everything like birthdays, clothes, boyfriends. Not really, but you guys get the fucking point. Okay, so fast forward, I think it's our birthday, and me and my sister have been wanting a bike for a very long time. But what my parents thought was we wanted a bike to share. We didn't want that. Our friends had a bike of their own, and we wanted one of our own. We didn't want to share. But yes, we ended up getting a bike to share. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, after we got our bikes, we were so happy and so excited. Sometimes we would fucking argue on who would ride it first, who would ride it where, and who had it for the longest. Okay, like I mentioned in my previous story times, my parents are fucking strict. Like, strict to the point where if we would get hurt, my parents would grab the chancla or the bell, and they would still hit us harder because we got hurt. Oh, I also did want to mention that my parents are so strict, so we couldn't ride the bike anywhere else in the neighborhood, only like where my dad can see us. So it was to this end all the way to this end, and our house was in the middle. Fast forward, I don't know how long we've had the bike for now, but I remember me and my sister got into an argument about who would ride the bike first and who would ride it second, and you know, whatever. So I end up telling her, like, you know what, okay, fine, you ride it, but I'm gonna go on the back of it. You know how like the bikes has those little things where you can still stand on it? Yeah, I told her that we'd be doing that instead of fucking fighting, and she agreed. But then my cousin comes over and he has a bike, my brother has a bike, and it's us sharing one bike, right? So we already knew, like, oh shit, like that means we have to look after them, and they were younger at the time. Anyways, so my cousin and my brother, obviously they're younger, so we knew we had to look after them. And instead of us riding the bikes first, we told them, okay, you guys go in front of us and we will go behind you guys, just in case if anything happens, we'll be right behind you guys. And as we're riding the bike, tell me why the fuck we see a car coming at full speed, and my cousin, of course, him being a little turd, he wasn't fucking listening to us. But me and my sister were like, Diego, like, get the fuck out the way, the fucking car is gonna fucking hit you, boy. Okay, at this point, we're fucking panicking because this little bitch doesn't want to fucking listen. And my fucking brother was also fucking in the fucking way. We were fucking panicking. We were dead ass like, oh fuck, like this guy is gonna die. We're gonna get blamed. We're gonna go to jail and we're gonna have no fucking bike. So everything happens so quick. I remember my cousin moving out the way at the very last minute, and so did my brother. But since we were so focused on them getting out of the fucking way, my sister didn't fucking see the fucking okay, like I was saying, we were so focused on them getting out of the fucking way that my sister wasn't fucking focusing on where she was driving, or riding the fucking bike, and this bitch runs us into the big ass trash bins. Like, I'm not talking about the ones where you have to like drag them outside and wait for the fucking garbage truck to fucking come by and pick them up. I'm talking about the huge trash bins, like the very, very big ones. This bitch runs into that, and since I'm fucking right behind her, I'm dead ass on those little fucking things. Shit, I fucking flew. I dead ass felt like fucking Batman, bitch. I just remember fucking flying and then just landed on straight fucking ground. I don't know why I didn't think of like jumping out instead of fucking getting hit with her. But this bitch runs us into that. And all I just remember is me being on the fucking floor. And I kid you guys not, all of this and all of this was like the flesh, like all my skin was like rubbed off from the fucking road. We were bleeding, my knees were all bloody. And I just remember my sister fucking crying. I'm still trying to process what the fuck just happened. It dead ass felt like the truck fucking hit us. I'm not even kidding. That's how fucking fast we were fucking going. So I'm still trying to fucking process as I'm trying to get myself up, but I'm really fucking hurt. I'm not even kidding. Like, I couldn't even get up. But I got up fast because I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, bitch, I was mostly embarrassed that anyone else in the fucking neighborhood just saw what the fuck happened to us. But as I'm fucking, like, processing, I hear my fucking sister crying. So I fucking look at her and I'm like, bitch, like, get the fuck up. Like, this shit's so fucking embarrassing. Like, the neighbors are coming outside because they heard the fucking loud ass thing. Like, just think about it. Straight up fucking metal hitting another fucking piece of metal. Like, I'm not even joking. This bitch was fucking hurt. Like, so fucking hurt. And we already knew, like, oh my god, like, if we go home and we tell my fucking parents what just happened to us and we show him what happened to us, we're gonna get a fucking beating. My dad's gonna get the belt and we're definitely gonna die this time. So I pick my sister up and I tell her, like, okay, I'll take the bike home since she couldn't fucking walk. Like, she was crying so bad, guys. We finally get home. I don't remember if I told my parents or not what happened. I think we ended up telling them, and for some reason, like, they were with my uncle, so they weren't really focusing on what the fuck what was going on. So we went to the bathroom. I forgot to mention, my sister ran into that trash can so fucking fast, like at full speed too, that, you know how the bike has like that metal thing? Right in the middle. I'm guessing like when she landed like really hard into that trash can, that piece of fucking metal went up her, you know. So yes, the fucking bike went inside the fucking pussy, basically. And the bitch lost her fucking V card. Like, I remember for a whole entire week, she kept complaining that it hurt so bad down there. And when we got home from the accident, the bitch was fucking bleeding. Like, she was bleeding so much. When I seen how bad this bitch was bleeding, I thought, like, oh my god, she's gonna have wheels for children. Dead ass. Like, she just got raped by a fucking bike. And I remember her asking my mom, like, oh my god, like, I got hurt and I'm bleeding from my area. My mom was like, okay, like, she didn't believe it. She was just like, you know what? I think she got her period. My mom over here thinking that my sister got her fucking period when this whole bitch just got fucking raped by a fucking bike. Dude, I couldn't even look at my fucking cousin. I couldn't even look at my fucking brother. Like, I was so fucking angry. Like, because of them, this was fucking happening to us. Like, and yeah, she always talks about how, like, that shit was, like, the most traumatizing thing that's ever fucking happened to her. Because she never thought ever in her life that she would be raped by a bike. After that, our bike was really fucked up, so por culeras, because we didn't want to fucking share. Now we both don't have a fucking bike. Just because we don't want to fucking share. Just, honestly, no. I'm not even taking full accountability of this. This shit was all because of my cousin, because his little bitch ass, I don't know what the fuck his little Minecraft head ass was thinking at the time, but he was not fucking paying attention to the fucking road, when that's the fucking first thing I said. That's the dead ass, the first thing we fucking told them. Hey, watch out for any fucking cars. If you guys see a fucking car, move out the fucking way, because no car is gonna stop for you. Trust me, you in God, no car is gonna give a fuck about you.
Before I start this video, I want to be clear. We're going to be discussing mass violence in this video involving children. I'm not going to be talking about really graphic gore, but it is very emotionally heavy, and if you need to step away, please do, because today is about remembrance, truth, and accountability. Normally on my account, every Thursday or Friday we cover a true crime case, but today is a really important day in American history, and I want to talk about it. Today is December 14th. And if you're in the United States, this date carries a lot of weight that never leaves. 13 years ago today, I'm getting chills. In 2012, I'm really going to try not to cry because I remember when this happened. An elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut became the site of one of the most devastating school shootings in U.S. history. This video is not about fame. I will never be saying shooters' names when I cover shooting cases, but I'm going to talk about what really happened, who we lost, and why this conversation matters so much today and every day. Every fucking day. So let's get into this case. I'm really going to try not to cry, but this case is so fucking important. More important than any other case I cover. And every case I will be covering is so important, and we need to have a bigger conversation about children and safety. I'm kind of bleeping what I'm saying just because I don't know if TikTok is going to try to take this down, and we need to fucking talk about this. So, let's get into what happened. So, what exactly happened? On the morning of December 14th, 2012, a gunman entered Sandy Hook Elementary School. Inside the school, there was children between the ages of 6 and 7, first graders, learning how to read and write and how to share and how to line up in the hallway quietly. But all of these children were believing in the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus. It's Christmas time. It's a wonderful time of the year. Within minutes, 20 children and 6 educators were dead. Within minutes. Let that sink in. 20 children, 6 educators, gone. 20 children did not come home from school that day. So, try not to cry. 6 adults, 6 teachers and staff died protecting those children. Some used their own bodies as shields. Some locked doors. Some ran towards the danger. Because that's what teachers do. The police arrived quickly. I'll give them that. But it did not matter. The damage was already fucking done. It was... The shooter died on the scene. And before even arriving to that school that morning, he already killed his own mother. This was not a moment. This was a series of choices that ended in irreversible loss. Why does this still hurt? If you're feeling uncomfortable right now, I have chills. Good. You should. I want you to feel uncomfortable when talking about shit like this. Because this wasn't some high school with older teens. This wasn't some college campus. Those cases still matter. This was an elementary school. Tiny desks, crayons on the walls, you know, backpacks with cartoon characters like Bluey. Well, Bluey wasn't there at the time, so all of those. Shoes that were little and probably lit up like Skechers when the kids ran. Parents dropping off their kids that morning expecting spelling tests and art projects to come home with them. Instead, those parents were met with police lines, chaos, and the worst phone calls imaginable. Those parents who set the table with one less seat at the table. There are siblings that grew up without their brother or sister in a hole in their family that will never close because they're gone. There are teachers who survived and that will carry that trauma for the rest of their lives. Same with students that were in those classrooms and just everyone in general in that situation. I remember when this happened, I was pretty young myself, and I remember my dad and my grandmother, my yaya, holding on to me so tight because I was in elementary school, preschool, I forget, when this happened. And I remember it shocked everyone and it changed everything. But still to this day, nothing has fucking changed. And that's the problem. Let's talk about the shooter. Without centering it around him, because I do not give a fuck about this man, ever. So let's get into that in just a second. So let's talk about the shooter without centering it around him. When I talk about shootings in the future, I never want to center it around the shooter. I'm not going to be naming him because mass shooters are often remembered way more than their victims, which that is part of the problem. But we do need to talk about the patterns. Statistically, a vast majority of school shooters in America are white young men. That's not an opinion. That's not my personal preference, my ideas. No, this is documented data over the years since 1999, since Columbine. Okay? Documented data. It's always been a white fucking dude with mental fucking illness. Okay? This does not mean that all white men are fucking violent and evil and all this shit, okay? But it does not mean that people with mental illnesses equal danger and are horrible fucking people. I struggle with my mental health. Other people struggle with mental illness and mental health. That does not make you a villain or a bad guy. But what this does mean is that the US and everyone in it keeps on ignoring the warning signs, the radicalization, the isolation, and the access to lethal and deadly fucking weapons until it's too motherfucking late. The shooter, in this case of Sandy Hook, had a history, a very lengthy history of severe mental health struggles and illness. There were signs. There were red flags. Yet, nothing was done. No one intervened in time. And look what fucking happened. 20 children are dead. And 6 staff members are dead too. Let that sink in. Alright, so this is going to be the really uncomfortable part about gun violence and that conversation. Because we need to have this conversation now. We've been needing to have this conversation since 1999. And I feel like we're not having that fucking conversation. Alright, here's why people get defensive. Every time this conversation comes up, it is, we don't want to get political, it's a policy tragedy, all this shit. But children are already getting murdered. This is political. This is already political. It has been political since 1999. It has always been political. The USA, the United States of fucking America, already has more school shootings than any developed country. We have the most. We're on top, and that's not a good thing. Not by a little. We're not beating them like by 2 or 3. No, we're beating them by a lot. In this case, we do not want to be beating them. We are losing people. This is not okay. I remember when I was in high school, and in middle school, and elementary school, we practiced active drills instead of fixing the root fucking problem. We're teaching my sister, who is in elementary school, might I add, how to hide in closets before we can guarantee that they will come home alive. People are buying their children bulletproof backpacks. People are telling children not to wear light-up shoes to school anymore. Teachers are keeping, I've seen a video of a teacher here on TikTok where she keeps lollipops, a big thing of lollipops in her desk just in case if a shooter comes, so then she can keep the kids quiet and calm, so then they won't talk. Think about that. Think about that. We need to change. Things need to change. What needs to change? Well, actually, if we cared about children's safety, this is what we should be talking about. Stricter background checks, mental health evaluation, mandatory waiting periods, safety storage laws, mental health evaluations before purchasing firearms, red flags in laws allowing interventions before gun violence happens, especially mental health care. Oh my fucking God, in this country. It's so inaccessible, stigmatized, underfunded, especially for men. We need to stop telling men that strong men don't cry, or not to ask for help, not to feel emotions. And then we act all shocked, oh my God, when some pressure explodes into freaking violence. Prevention is not censorship. Accountability is not oppression. I grew up with guns, okay? I know how they work. I know that taking them away, people are still gonna get shit illegally, okay? That's just how it is. If people want something, they're gonna do it. If we ban abortions, people are still gonna get abortions. That's just how it is. If we put more regulations in place, mental health checks, certain evaluations to make sure that people are not just going to do shit like this, things would be a lot better. Not saying that things are going to be perfect, because nothing's ever perfect, especially in this country, but things would be a lot fucking safer. a lot safer. So why do we remember Sandy Hook? First off, you should be following Sandy Hook Promise. I love that foundation. It's great. We need to remember Sandy Hook because those children and faculty members matter. Because we need to not stop saying their names. If we stop marking this day, December 14th, it becomes easier to move on without change. Their lives should have been long. They should be teenagers now. They should be college students. They should be adults with dreams and futures. But instead, they're remembered as victims of a system that failed them. Failed them. We're going to be remembering the victims before this video ends. I do often get lost in this conversation like this, but I want to say their names and briefly honor who they were, because this is not just statistics. These were children, educators, and they were loved. I do suck at names, so I might try to do last names instead of first names, but I'm going to be talking about each of the little kids because I have learned a little bit about each of the kids and all the victims, and I'm going to be talking about each of them for a second. So, I don't know how, this is a girl. Her last name's Richmond. She was 6. She loved art and music, and family later created a foundation in her name to promote kindness and mental health. Wheeler, age 6. He was a kind, gentle kid who loved animals and was known for a big heart. Charlotte Bacon, 6, artistic, thoughtful, incredibly creative, and had a deep love for animals. Chase, 7. He was remembered for his bravery and love of sports, and especially football. Daniel, he was 7, joyful, compassionate, and known for his bright smile and empathy for others. Dylan was 6, a gentle soul who loved animals, the outdoors, and helping others. Parker, that's her last name, she was 6, talented artist who loved singing, drawing, and spending time with her family. Grace, 7, love. She was lovely, she was kind, she was full of energy, contagious, enthusiastic for life. She was so enthusiastic. Jack was 6, adventurous and athletic, and always eager to try new things. Jess, 6, remembered for his courage and compassion, and he reportedly told his classmates to run to safety. Josephine, creative and bright, with a beautiful love of art and imagination. Madeline, incredibly intelligent, curious, and deeply loved by her family. Noah, playful and energetic with a big smile and a love for superheroes. Olivia, joyful, loving, and eager to make other people laugh. Anne, 6, vibrant, expressive, and loved singing and dancing. Allison Wyatt, 6, kind-hearted, gentle, with a deep love for her family. Caroline, 6, creative and adventurous, and always eager to learn. Catherine, 6, loved animals and dreamed of helping other animals in the wildlife community. James, 6, energetic, joyful, and always excited to be with friends. And Jessica, 6, loved animals and dreamed of becoming a marine biologist. So now I want to talk about the educators. I really suck with names, so if I use the last names of the students, I'm sorry. If I use the first names, I'm sorry. Overall, I really suck with names, even though I have been an aquatics teacher before. I just suck with names. So these are the educators. Dawn, 47, the school's principal who ran towards the danger to protect her students. Mary, 56, the school psychologist who is remembered for her compassion and dedication to the children's well-being. Victoria, 27, first grade teacher who was shielding her students with her own body. Anne Marie Murphy, 52, a special education teacher aide who was deeply loved by her students. Rachel, 29, a behavioral therapist who died trying to protect children she was helping. Lauren, 30, a substitute teacher who showed up that day simply just to help. Alright, so these were 26 lives. Not headlines, not talking points. They should have been growing up right now. All of them. They deserve to be remembered. Every single one. If this video made you uncomfortable, That is good. That was the whole point. Sit with that discomfort, because children should not have to die for us to listen. Today, we remember those 26 lives in total that lost their lives at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Because I demand that we don't listen tomorrow or eventually. We need to listen now. I will put resources and links for all Sandy Hook stuff. I have chills. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a heavy one. Holy fucking shit.
So at this point, we've been dating for 8 months and we're on this international 2.5 week long trip. We're at the music festival. He's mad at me for having my photo taken, beyond mad. He's telling me, what's mine is mine. What's like, I don't want the world seeing what's mine. You're mine, you're mine. And at that moment, I'm like, this is not for me. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna have a man control me like this. Like, I am a respectful woman. I'm gonna respect how my partner feels no matter what. But this to me was crossing a line. So right then and there, I said, okay, I didn't come on this trip to go to a music festival. I didn't come on this trip to try to get a trip. I came on this trip to try to find out if him and I were gonna be compatible together long term. And it was the first day of the festival. And I told him, I said, I'm gonna go. I started to pack my bags because I was like, no way that this is for me, not what I'm okay with. But he stopped me and he grabbed my face and was like, in my family, we don't get divorces. In my family, we communicate, we work through things when the good times are bad. Like, you're not gonna leave, you're my responsibility, you're mine, blah, blah, blah. And I felt like, you know, if the biggest issue in our relationship is that my partner doesn't want me having my photos taken, that's a compromise I can make. Like, do I need my photos taken? No. So and then when he said, you know, like, this is something that we're going to work through, we're going to communicate on, we ended up talking about it. Things calmed down. We finished the trip. And overall, we did have an amazing trip and 2.5 weeks together internationally. It was good. On that same trip, we said, I love you for the first time after 8 months. So it was a big deal for us. I was feeling very good. I was feeling like more security than I had ever felt in the 8 months. So I was hopeful about the future and I was feeling very good about where we were at and where we were going. But then when we got back from the trip, you know, it was weird. He basically sat me down and told me that he felt pressured by me. And I was a little taken back, but I was also like, well, we just spent a lot of time together and maybe he was feeling a little fear of commitment with saying, I love you. Maybe it was a lot at once. But I was like, we're 8 months in, you're 15 years older than me, and you're telling me that you feel pressure. I'll never pressure anyone into being with me. I felt very uncomfortable when he told me that. So I took a very big emotional step back and I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna just observe for the next couple of months. I'm not going to, there will be zero pressure from me. There will be the opposite of pressure from me. And I was just gonna observe, but I was giving it a timeline and I was told myself in a couple of months, if I don't feel differently, if I'm not feeling secure with this man, then I'm gonna have to end it because I'm not just gonna wait around for someone to decide to be with me officially and marry me. Like, you should know at 8 months and feel confident that this is the type of person you want to be with and that you have feelings for this person in that way. So I took an emotional step back. And then it was weird because like 2 weeks later, he starts talking about us moving in together. He was like, I want us to go look at townhouses. And I didn't say anything because I'm not pressuring. But then he brings it up again. And he brings up moving in together for a third time and going to look at the townhouses. And I was just like, what? Like, it didn't feel right, but it felt good. And I was thinking maybe he was feeling pressure and I took some pressure off and maybe he's feeling good now. I don't know. But I was still in this state of mind where I'm just going to be observing this man and our relationship. So at this point, things are on a very good note. We're on a high note. And then he goes to dinner with his friends. And I knew the next morning he was leaving town to go to that other city that he lives in part-time. And he said he was having a good dinner and I didn't hear from him that night. That's fine. The next day I get a paragraph text message from this man. Now, this is when Greg, from the beginning of the first story time, 6 to 12 months before I started dating my ex, I went to dinner with Greg. This is where Greg comes around again. The text message that I got from my boyfriend was insanely long, and it was basically saying that his friends told him at dinner that I hung out with Greg a year before, and that he was so betrayed, so humiliated, so disgusted, that his heart was shattered, that he's never felt this way in his life. He cannot believe that I would not respect him enough to tell him that I hung out with Greg a year before we started dating. And my immediate response was, whoa, 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 I didn't do anything with Greg. I hung out with Greg one time. We never even kissed. I don't even talk to Greg. Who is Greg? Such an insignificant night in my life. I was like, whoa, 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 no, no, no. And then he responded and was like, you're minimizing this, you're deflecting, you can't even take accountability. And I was just like, what is going on? But the next day he was going, like, he left town on a flight. So I was just like, so upset. I was crying. It was raining in my city and I had to move apartments that weekend. So it was essentially the worst weekend ever. It was storming down rain. I'm crying. He wouldn't even get on the phone with me. He said he's sick to his stomach. He can't eat. He can't sleep. He can't do anything. He can't even bear the thought of talking to me on the phone. It was very dramatic. This did not go on for a weekend or a week. It went on for 3.5 weeks. I'm going to read you guys some of the messages he sent me. The amount of hurt and heartbreak I feel right now is beyond anything I can put into words, which is why speaking on the phone isn't even an option for me at this time. What it all comes down to is one thing: trust, and that's been broken. At this point, we clearly don't see eye to eye on what's right and what's wrong. He said it was deeply humiliating. We see loyalty and respect very differently. I'm getting these messages for 3.5 weeks where my character, integrity, my values are not just being questioned, they're being attacked by this man for 3.5 weeks. I cried for 3.5 weeks. I begged him to forgive me. I felt so bad. I knew it was dramatic, but I was like, oh my gosh, like, I couldn't believe that he was this mad about it, right? It got to a point where it was simply unbelievable. So then I started thinking, what the fuck are you projecting on me? You're just screaming, I'm guilty here. Me as a person, my character, my respect, my integrity, none of those things have ever in my life been questioned before. But 3.5 weeks, he's making me cry. During that time, I went to Italy with my sister. I was crying the entire trip. I could barely enjoy my trip with my sister because this man was emotionally putting me through the fucking ringer. Like, I've never been so upset that I felt like I lost my boyfriend over something that didn't even happen, that was so insignificant. And I just was going through all of these emotions for 3.5 weeks. It was honestly horrible. So I thought back and I'm like, he probably has another girlfriend. Like, he probably has someone else. And I thought back to months prior, 4 months prior. I don't ever do this. I'm not Nancy Drew, but the one time I did this, I was looking, who does he follow on social media? Who does he follow on Instagram? This man's digital footprint is like non-existent, okay? So his social media, he hasn't posted in 5-6 years. You can't find shit about him online. But I was just looking through his followers and I looked at this girl's profile and I looked at her story and I recognized that she immediately blocked me. So that raised a red flag. Like, why did you block me? Weird. But I didn't think much of it because maybe she's an ex-girlfriend. Maybe she doesn't know who I am. I don't know. What was weird about this girl though, what stood out to me in my mind is that she blocked me, but a couple of times she was looking at my friends' stories on Instagram. So what it seemed like from an outside perspective is like she blocked me, but was still keeping an eye on me a little bit from my friends' social media. But again, I wasn't out here questioning things because I was with this man every night and I just kept my mouth shut. But after 3.5 weeks of him attacking my character and all of these things, I was like, maybe this girl is someone I should reach out to. Like, why would you block me? And after 3.5 weeks, I was like, the relationship is over anyway, so why not just message her? And I did. And she immediately texted me.
Stop this madness. What do you want?
Okay, so I'm actually boarding a flight and I get a text message from this girl who I was suspicious of. And she was like, yes, I've been seeing this guy for the last 6 months or so. Almost our entire relationship, my boyfriend was seeing this girl on the side, here and there, but it doesn't matter. She said that he would leave work, go to her apartment, hang out with her for a little bit. He would go home and I would have a lasagna made. I would literally be waiting for dinner. And I would always wonder, why are you working so late? But he was always like, I live in another city and the time zone is 2 hours behind. So an 8 p.m. meeting here in our city is a 6 p.m. meeting in another city. And I just let it like, I never questioned that, but turns out he was probably seeing this girl or other girls, going over, hanging out, and then going home to me. Disgusting. You're disgusted? I'm disgusted. I asked her about my Instagram, like, why did she block me? And she said that she blocks girls who she doesn't know. So maybe she knew about me, maybe she didn't. I don't think she did. It doesn't matter because she is not the enemy. I am not the enemy. This man and his actions, that's what the issue is, not this girl. Because she liked him too, you know? She was being lied to and manipulated the same way I was. And she also had to remove her bikini pictures from Instagram. Like, what is this man doing? You're having your side chick remove her bikini photos and your girl, like, and who else? What is going on here? She did say that he told her he could only call her from a blocked number most of the time. So she believed that he was calling her from a blocked number. He was just an expert liar and manipulator, and people were fooled, including me. But the moment I found out he was cheating, after 3.5 weeks of crying myself and feeling like I fucked things up, of course, I knew it wasn't me. I'm not that type of person. I knew my character was in check. I was like, period. Like, say less. I immediately felt healed because I was like, I knew I was not the problem. I knew it was you all along. So for 3.5 weeks, he wasn't able to see me. He could barely talk on the phone to me. But as soon as I found out that he had a side girl, he was on a flight back into our town at 6 a.m. the next day. Funny how that works out, right? Anyways, we go to dinner the next night about his side chick, and he sits down and he's like, I'm sorry. I loved you. You were the one I wanted to be with. You were the one I sent flowers to, and yelled at me for sending 2 bouquets on Valentine's Day. You were the one I loved. You were like, I was finally getting there. I was like sitting there. I was like, and he was like telling me that I have needs. I'm a man with needs. Does anyone here on the internet think I was not fulfilling this man's physical needs? Be fucking for real right now. So we had a dinner at the Cheesecake Factory and I spent an hour there. When we got in the car after, he was like, so have we cleared the air? I was like, yeah, like whatever. I didn't say that, but just like, wow, you know, for 3.5 weeks, you didn't have to put me through that psychological warfare. You really didn't. Oh, and it turns out that the day he started the fight with me, he went to his city because we knew he took a flight back to his other city. Guess who was conveniently in that city that weekend? Her. Guess who spent the weekend together? Them. Guess who was taking photos of each other and having a little rendezvous, a romantic weekend? Them. While I was moving apartments, crying my eyes out in the rain, was miserable, was emotionally unconsolable. He was having a little weekend, having little cocktails with his side bitch. And he was like, she was already going to be in town. And just because she's going to be in town doesn't mean you have to make it a whole romantic weekend or even see her or respond to her. Why does she even exist? You started seeing this girl after we were seeing each other. So it gets to a point where I'm immediately over this man, but I was still upset that he let me suffer and cry for 3.5 weeks. So after this, you know, he came to my apartment one night unannounced. And this is the footage of the video that you guys have seen. And he's telling me, you just want to relive the past. I was like, I want to relive the past. You spent 3.5 weeks torturing me about one dinner date with a guy that I had 6 months before we were dating. So who wants to relive the past here? This was our relationship. It was just an insane lack of acknowledgement, accountability. The same exact things that he was telling me, I could have copied and pasted the messages and sent them to him. So it's insane how people's guilt will really make them project that onto whoever else that they need to. I have no idea. Oh, but that weekend that they had that little rendezvous, the girl told me that she saw things from another girl at his place in the other city. So it wasn't just me and her, there were others. And he's telling me, you're the one I loved, you're the one I wanted to be with. And I'm like, great, I'm number one. Like, please stop. I tell him, you know, get out of my apartment. And this is when he starts to breathe heavy. For 3.5 weeks, I had also told him, I have chest pain, I'm crying, I couldn't sleep. I was having my heart broken. You guys know, if you've had your heart broken, that there's physical pain. I was telling my mom that, I was telling my friends that, I was telling him that. He did not care, but he's telling me in my own apartment, he's yelling at me, I have chest pain. And I was like, oh my God, for 3.5 weeks, I've been telling you, my heart is physically breaking here. I'm in pain. And he said, yeah, but I could actually have a heart attack. Why? Because you're older than me? Like, your chest pain matters, but fuck mine, right? So I just sat there. He's heavy breathing. He proceeds to go into the guest bathroom and splash water on his face. And I was like, take a minute, collect yourself, right? No, but it was not a minute. He's in the bathroom making the noises that 52 million people heard for not a minute, for not 5 minutes. This is going on for like 15 minutes. And I'm sitting out here and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is clearly fake. What do you want me to do? Give you comfort? That's why I was laughing in the videos, you guys, because it was a performative, comedic experience. Like, the entire thing, clown show, circus, it was a joke. I couldn't take it seriously. After so long, I was like, you need medical attention, clearly. You need a psych ward is honestly what you need. But I kept saying, I was like, do you need an ambulance? Do you need an ambulance? Like, I gave him a water bottle. I was like, get off the floor. He let me call, after 5 minutes of saying, I'm gonna call 911, I called 911 finally, because this grown man will not leave my apartment. He will not stop wheezing. So I call the paramedics, I call 911. They get there pretty soon and they come in. Well, he has calmed down, I guess. All of a sudden, they asked him, like, have you had a lot of caffeine today? Do you have a history of panic attacks? Like, what's the deal? And he was like, no, I don't take any new medication. And I don't really know what I can say with HIPAA and stuff, but essentially the paramedics were like standing there giving me the side eye. And I was standing there giving them the side eye. Everyone in the room knew that this was a joke. And then they asked me, who are you? And I was like, well, I was one of 2 girlfriends, so now not anymore. And it all made sense to everyone. There was a stretcher in the hallway. At one point, they were in the hallway, and the paramedic that was in my living room was like, so how much do you pay for rent here? And we just started having a casual conversation. Like, first responders are meant for life-threatening emergencies. It's not cool. It's not funny to fake it. You should never use your like this to waste city resources, but also to try to manipulate someone. So it was just beyond fucked up. But as this was going on, I was like, man, I am so happy that this man is out of my life. I liked him a lot, and I finally saw him for who he truly was or is, and everything became crystal clear. That's it. I mean, as soon as the paramedics left, he got up and was like, I'm leaving. I was like, bye. And you guys know the rest of the story, essentially. 52 million people saw it, and that's the gist, but I'm single, so hit me up.